What is up, everybody? Welcome to Eagles Postgame Live Top Takeaways Reaction. Eagles get the W here, 25-20. A lot more questions than answers in this one. I've got some problems. I came into this game week one not prepared to be this upset, but here we are. Joining me, my man, Ryan Reese of Philly Sports Alliance. What is up, Ryan?
And I apologize for the noise here, but yeah, we're just getting through this first game, and we're man, it was ugly, but win's a win, man.
Love it, man. And then special guest joining us tonight. He is Phil of Trending in the AM of Philly Sports Network. Check him out. Nearly pretty much every morning, man. Breaks it down. All Philly sports. Amazing show. He is Phil at Beard Knowledge. What's up, man?
I did not buy enough beer to get through this first week one game. That is my biggest takeaway, is that the 6-pack I bought just wasn't going to cut it today.
Oh my goodness. Where do we start with this one when it comes to top takeaways? We gotta start, I think, with the terrible play calling that we had to sit through from the I'd say the end of the first quarter through, the fourth quarter, because things started well for the Philadelphia Eagles. I liked how they got their running backs. Kenny Gainwell was very involved in the offense. I like how they were moving the ball, but I don't know what happened. The second quarter happened. The Eagles put their foot off the pedal on offense and defense, and you can't do that in the NFL, especially week one. This team looks sloppy in many different facets, but I just did not agree with the play calling. DeAndre Swift didn't touch the GD football until the fourth quarter. They didn't go to Dallas Goedert. I don't think they targeted him until the fourth quarter. That is inexcusable. The fact that your biggest play was like 15 yards for the majority of this game against a defensive backfield in the New England Patriots, that has no excuse to hang with the Philadelphia Eagles. Why do you not target A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith down the football field? I don't know. I'll throw it to you, Phil. Just on Ryan Johnson, his play calling and the lack of offense.
Well, the play calling, that was one of my biggest concerns entering this season, was you lost Jonathan Gannon, you lost Shane Steichen. Obviously, there was going to be a little bit of a growing pains when you lose your two coordinators in the offseason. Whatever we think about Jonathan Gannon now, whatever it is, put that aside. We knew there were going to be issues. You talk about Dallas Goedert, and then you were praising Kenneth Gainwell for the second there. The play calling in the first half, I don't remember at what point. It was sometime late in the second quarter. I looked. He had touched the ball, passing or receiver in the passing game, almost 50% of the plays. No offense to Kenneth Gainwell. I don't think he's a guy or a talent or somebody when you have Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift, all these weapons. Why is one guy being targeted or touching the football half the plays of offense? And when that started happening, that's kind of when you start to see the offense kind of just slow down, sputter a little bit. He's not a guy that you could do that with when you have all these weapons. And Dallas Goedert had one target the entire game. But Kenneth Gainwell touched the ball almost 20 times. That makes zero sense to me.
Yep. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing that I was sitting there screaming about, is why is Kenny Gainwell getting so much love? He had 14 carries. He had 4 targets. Swift had what? 1 carry, 2 targets? Why did we even bother to trade for him if we weren't going to use him? We already redshirted or penny for the game, and so what did we even do to our running back room? We just got rid of Miles Sanders. Makes zero sense. And the whole Goddard thing, how is God? I couldn't tell you how many times I saw Goddard open, and you target him one time, and what that was in the fourth quarter, correct? One time. Yeah.
So, Ryan, can I ask you a question there? Because you're on the same page with me with Kenneth Gainwell here.
Yeah.
All offseason, they were hyping him up, right? He's our guy. We love Kenneth Gainwell. I almost felt like the play calling was geared to force him down our throat to prove that what they said about him was right. I don't know if you got that same vibe on the play calling.
Absolutely. No, yeah. The whole fact of the matter is everybody was so hyped about Penny and Swift joining this team. And then all we would hear is, oh, well, Kenny Gainwell is the number one running back. He's running with the ones. He's the one getting the most carries and the most plays with the ones. Clearly it's going to be Gainwell. And every little beat reporter was repeating it and regurgitating it the whole offseason. And you're right. It almost felt like, well, we've been saying it all offseason. Might as well have to show them now. It just didn't make any sense. And, again, it just felt like it was pretty vanilla, kind of just like the preseason, honestly. Too many screens, too many weird plays. I get new coordinator, you're officially calling plays, and you kind of got to get your feet wet there. But, man, it was not a very impressive first game for him.
Yeah, very bizarre. Very bizarre. I love this comment from Danny. Goddard was wide open so many times.
So many times
during the game did we see Jalen Hurts just miss him? He's wide open, or they just ran it the wrong play, or Hurts was targeting the wrong player. Like Goddard was literally screaming at least a couple different occasions. At least I saw on Twitter that no one's throwing him the damn ball. It's just baffling. It's just baffling. And this kind of goes, like we talk about Swift, we talk about Goddard. I don't know. Did I not respect the New England Patriots defensive line as much as I should? I don't know. Because it feels like the Eagles did not get any push in this game on the offensive line. They ran the ball 3.9 yards per carry. Gainwell had 14 carries for 54 yards. DeAndre Swift had 1 carry for 3 yards. Boston Scott had 1 carry for 3 yards. There was just no commitment to the run game in a game where the elements are literally telling you otherwise. Like they should have run the ball down the throat of the New England Patriots, but they also weren't attacking downfield either. It was just a very bizarre game plan.
The funny thing is, we all joke. I was going to say something about Jalen Hurts, but we all kept talking about how we were all happy. Well, I didn't say it, but everyone else was happy that there was no more Miles Sanders. Well, let's not forget, Miles Sanders had 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns last year. Kenneth Gainwell is not getting you 1,300 yards. But this offense moves, and this offense is successful because of one thing, not Brian Johnson or Shane Steichen, not because of Miles Sanders or Dallas Goedert, but the quarterback, Jalen Hurts. And look, you guys talking about Dallas Goedert, this was probably the worst game I've seen from Jalen Hurts since 2021. Reading the field, throwing the football, commanding the offense, and all those things that we talk about that went wrong. If Jalen Hurts is playing well, a lot of those things open up and become more successful. This almost loss is on Jalen Hurts as much as anybody else.
Yeah, let's get into that next. We're going to grade Jalen Hurts A to F. Patrick's in the house saying, "What's up, Dives?" Phil with the most amazing beard in Chester County. Love it. Love it. Yeah,
I didn't put any product in it today, Pat. Just so you know.
Bill Belichick takes your 2 best guys away. He's usually good at that. Well said. Stephen Davis says relieved. Gainwell's always been Nick's guy. Absolutely. Patrick says Brian Johnson is Chip Kelly 2.0. Oh, God. Not Jalen's greatest game, Rust. You have to expect it. Slop's going to happen. But the slop happened against the Detroit Lions last season, and what they put up 45 points. Phil was saying,
"Baby, I never said Miles was ass. I've been preaching that we didn't replace Miles properly."
Yeah. All right, let's get into Jalen Hurts in this one. Jalen Hurts finished the game 22 of 33, 5.2 average, 1 touchdown. He got sacked 3 times. He had a quarterback rating of 89.2. He did rush the ball 9 times for 37 yards, which made me scratch my head. That fumble at the end of the fourth quarter was inexcusable. That was not Jalen Hurts-esque. I mean, that was just a great metaphor for this entire freaking game. How unprepared, how lazy and sloppy and just top to bottom unprepared this Eagles team really was. I'll throw it to you, Ryan. How would you grade Jalen Hurts in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to give this a C-. He just didn't look like himself, honestly. And I don't know whether that's a product of some of the play calling. or basically, or what Bill Belichick and that Patriots defense was giving him. We all know Belichick, given all offseason essentially, to game plan, and he does take away some of your best weapons. That is what he is known for. But yeah, I don't know. He just looked a little indecisive. There was too many times he was rolling out, couldn't find anybody, and was throwing the ball away. And listen, he made a couple of great throws. Don't get me wrong. But you kind of take some of those 4 or 5 plays out of there, and you look at the rest of the body of his work, and it really was not a great day. I'm not impressed. And listen, I'm gonna chalk this up to no preseason, and finally getting into a game, and let's call it that. Let's again, I think that's our best case scenario here. Is let's just hope it was a lot of rust or not playing and in the preseason, and hopefully Minnesota is a much better game because you got 4 days to figure it out.
And hopefully Nakobe Dean is okay. Phil, how would you grade Jalen Hurts?
I was debating between like a D+, C-, which is crazy. When you look at the stat lines and saying it's a fat stat line, like an 89 quarterback rating, you would think it was a much better game, but it wasn't. Like the stat lines don't tell the whole story of the game. And like you guys said, that fumble, that is so uncharacteristic of Jalen Hurts. I mean, how many times did he turn the ball over, period, last year? Like 9 times? It's so uncharacteristic. So I'll say a C-. I'll agree with Ryan, but I borderline saying D+. Outside of the coordinators, and I know you guys want to talk about the coaches and stuff like that, I put so much of the blame on this near loss on Jalen Hurts. And, we expect better. There's a reason why he's a favorite to win MVP. There's a reason why we gave him that contract. There's a reason why so many different things. And yet he did not play well. When you get paid big, you're expected to play big. When you're the MVP or borderline MVP, you're expected to play like an MVP. You're not expected to be outplayed by Mac Jones. And like that, I just can't get over it. I was joking earlier in the game. I tweeted out that Brock Purdy, that Mac Jones was looking like Tom Brady today. And Mac Jones is not Tom Brady. Well, some of that's because Jalen Hurts was so bad. Mac Jones had all these opportunities. You don't get outplayed by Mac Jones, Jalen. So it was a really bad performance. And I'm the biggest Jalen Hurts stand there is out there, and that I got to throw the blame today on him.
You go back to that second quarter when things started to unravel. I think they had 4 straight 3-and-outs. Like I really want to look.
They said it was the first time that he's ever done that, 5 straight 3-and-outs.
First time. Okay, that's what I was asking. Like, so that's the first time in his career.
They had first said 4 times was the first in a row. When that happened, was the first time since 2021. I think they said 5 times was the first time in his career. That's just not. That's almost why you put a D+ grade on him today.
Steven says Jalen played like he didn't throw or run at full speed all preseason. Quinn says part Jalen, part new offensive coordinator. Nikki says we stole it. We endured the outcome of the early game. Steven says I think the Eagles were going the route of the Phillies today. Davies says Jalen was a D today. Quinn says, don't stare at the deuce. Flush it. Jalen Hurts. Bill Belichick exposed the Eagles secondary, leaving the middle of the field open. Bill Belichick took full advantage. Michael is in the house. What's going on, Michael? Says the Eagles as a whole was an F. Mariota pressure got to Jalen, I guess. I don't know. This team looked up the bottom, and you can't outplay someone if you lose the game. Let's go to the defensive side of the football. A lot of question marks there as well. It was a very frustrating game from the start to the finish. I thought the pressure was there. They just could not get home. It felt like watching the 2021 Eagles all over again. Jalen Carter, we'll get to. Hassan Reddick, Jordan Davis, like they were getting pushed. Mac Jones was getting the ball out too quick, or I felt like the Patriots were prepared and knew where to go with the football quite often. Again, going back to the trenches, I'm shocked that the Eagles didn't do more on the defensive line, because if you looked at the matchups and the injuries the Patriots had coming into this one, I'm shocked the Eagles only had like 2 sacks, which happened, I think, at the end of the fourth quarter by Jalen Carter. Who had the other one? Was it Hassan Reddick? I have to look. I have to look at the stats. But anyway,
Davis had half a sack. Sweat had half a sack.
Yeah,
and then
Davis
Jalen Carter had the 1 sack.
Okay. So overall, it was a very frustrating game. You saw Mac Jones really get comfortable through the air. I thought the coverage was really bad, really, really bad. There were some moments, like I said, with Darius Slay and some pass deflections early in the first quarter. But after that, it was not great. What about you, Phil? Like, what was your take on this new Sean Desai defense?
Well, so Sean Desai, I think everybody was overhyping Sean Desai just a little bit, and I talked about it before plenty of times that Sean Desai's 1 year as a defensive coordinator was really bad. And I was always questioned whether that was because the Nagy running such a bad team in Chicago that year, or maybe he's just a positional coach. Who knows? There were some communication issues, but on defense, where were we all talking on every network, on every show? Linebacker question marks, safety question marks. I couldn't even tell you who. Like, I can't wait to see the snap counts for today, because outside of Reed Blankenship, like, I saw Justin Evans out there a few times, but I don't remember him ever doing anything. Nakobe Dean, I hope he's not hurt, but he did not look really that great today. And then Christian Ellis, when he came in, looked terrible in those moments. So the linebackers and safeties, which were the question mark before the season, are even bigger question marks now after week 1. Sean Desai, whether he could be a defensive coordinator or not, big question mark, bigger question mark after week 1. So that's where I'm looking. I think, like you all have said, the pressure was there, didn't get home. Slay and Bradbury weren't great, but they weren't awful today. And you take away that pick 6 from Darius Slay and the fumble that resulted into did we get a field goal on the fumble recovery? I believe it was. You take away those points off of the turnovers, man, this is a totally different ball game right now.
Really well said. Ryan, what was your take on the defense? And I'll get to some comments.
Yeah, I mean, no, Phil, you said it beautifully there. If it wasn't for that pick and that fumble, although, again, Jordan Davis poking the ball out, love that. It absolutely would have been a completely different game. But, I agree that I thought Reed had a pretty good game, obviously led the team in tackles today, was flying around. Slay didn't look all that great. He did get beat pretty bad on that touchdown. I thought Nakobe Dean did all right. He didn't have a monster game. He didn't have a, welcome to the NFL, like I'm here kind of game. But I thought he did pretty decent for what he was given. When he went out, obviously the downgrade to Christian Ellis was significantly noticeable.
There was a screenplay where he just overblew that so bad.
It was awful. I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's Christian Ellis should not be on the field. So we need to figure out something outside of him. But listen, the pressure was there. You're right; they were there, and they just couldn't get home. And Dodge, when you said it felt like 2021 all over again, that's exactly what I literally said out loud. I was like, this is my nightmare. I can't tell you how many times I've complained about the fact that we are a great pressure team, couldn't get to the quarterback for sacks. And of course, what did we do last year? We break records for sacks, but I hope we're not going back to that, because I can't handle that. I can't do it. Can't do it.
Mike, what's going on? Mike says it's the most vanilla offense and defense I've ever seen. Did anybody notify the Eagles that preseason ended?
Right.
Ago. Arlene with the comment of the night so far. I love Fletcher. He deserves all the W's. Fletcher had a couple of nice plays in this one that were pretty underrated. That definitely was a huge difference. We've got David in house saying Fly Eagles fly from Kansas City. It's awesome. Kansas City. Michael says, I will take the win. It's hard to win in the NFL, but the team as a whole should have been doing 3-a-days. They were not ready. Who is ready to watch our rivals beat up on each other? That's going down in 30 minutes. David says a win is a win. Malik, what's going on, Malik? Saying the play calls on both sides of the field were awful. My man Stevens, Reddick was getting held a lot. There were a couple times when I saw
Second
Jordan
part
Davis.
there.
Can we talk about Jordan Davis?
Seriously.
Before we get into Jalen Carter, we're going to talk about Jordan Davis because he had a career high 6 tackles in this one. That's an Eagles career high, and I thought he was everywhere. Like we talked about getting pressure, even just getting to the quarterback, he was everywhere. Keep the comments coming, guys. There's so many. There's like just it's nuts. But guys, thank you. Let's get into Jalen Carter, who ended this one 6 tackles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tied for third best. Is that right? On the team with 6 tackles. I'll throw it to you, Ryan. Quick thoughts.
Yeah, again, I thought Jordan Davis was getting really, Jalen Carter was getting really good pressure. I thought, you could easily tell he is a beast among men. Just kind of, again, was just close on so many occasions, and again was able to get that, get his first sack of his career, first, official full sack for the Eagles. So yeah, I was I was super happy. More things like that to come, especially with our over-unders that we did about a month ago. I'm pretty sure I said the over on the Jalen Carter sacks, so I'm loving that. But I think he just showed that he belongs. Mm-hmm. And again, it's his first game. Like he was already beating up professional offensive linemen. So I can't wait to continue to see this guy progress and get to the quarterback a lot more. And I thought he was pretty good in the run game, when he was out there for some run plays too. So
yeah, Steven says you can absolutely see the improvement in Davis. I wanted him drafted exactly where he was. I'd like to see more improvement. And, I was a little skeptical about the snap counts. Like I'm excited to see what the snap count looks like on Monday for Jordan Davis, because I feel like it was well over 50% that he was out there.
I don't know. Like, see, I think it's like the difference between the safeties. Like, I don't know who was on the field a majority of the time opposite of Reed Blankenship. I know Jordan Davis was out there, maybe over, maybe just under 50%. But every time he was on the field, he made a play or was wreaking havoc. Jalen Carter only had the 1 sack, but it felt like every snap he was out there on third down, he was getting into the backfield. So those two guys, if I know Josh Jobe made the saving play at the end. I know Darius Slay had the pick 6. But if I had to zone in on 2 names that were the key parts of this defense, was Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, your 2 top 10 picks right there.
Yep.
The future of the middle of our defensive line is
absolutely
looking amazing.
And that's not taking anything away from Fletcher. And I know you mentioned Fletcher, but he made 2 great plays at the end of the game. But Davis and Carter, that's where your defense is built for the future. And they showed up today as best they could.
Yep. Steven says having Carter get that sack in the clutch says a ton regarding what he is all about. I don't know about you guys, but it felt like at least in the first half, like every time he was on the football field, he was getting some kind of pressure, like leading to a missed throw or leading to something. He was just around the ball. I cannot wait to make the all 22 video on Jalen Carter this week. It is going to be so exciting. I've been talking about this for a long time, but I thought he was everywhere. Davey says Jalen Carter is a freak. He was blowing up guys, pushing guys back, getting into the backfield. He was all over the place. He got 1 sack in this one. Phil, thoughts on Jalen Carter?
I mean, he was in the backfield. He proved why, outside of his personal issues, he was considered one of the best players in the draft, without a shadow of a doubt. There's going to come a time when you do a mock redraft of the 2023 draft that Jalen Carter goes in the top 3 of it, without a shadow of a doubt. And today, it's only game 1, and he proved his worth today. So I don't think there's anything negative to say about Jalen Carter's game today. Actually, from a majority of the guys on the front 4, there's nothing negative to say outside of the fact that they didn't get home, other than twice. They all did their job well. It was everybody else on the defense that was, the question marks.
Yeah, Jalen Carter had 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 quarterback hit, and 1 tackle. But again, like that doesn't say at all how disruptive he was. Thoughts, Ryan?
So someone like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis too are guys that aren't going to show up on the stack sheets all the time. What they do. So I hate analytics, but Jalen Carter today was an analytic, dream. If you want to get into that aspect of it, what he did just won't show up, properly.
No, yeah, you said it perfectly. You look at a stat sheet, it only looks like he did one thing. But you're right. He was a menace, honestly. He was in a lot of plays. He was there. He was getting double teams. He was, again, doing his thing. And again, the whole defensive line, honestly, again, I thought brought really good pressure. I mean, Reddick was mere inches away from getting multiple sacks. And same with Sweat. And they just, again, either Mac was just getting the ball out quickly or whatever. But, again, first game wasn't pretty, but Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Fletch, I thought, the three of them, honestly, I thought had a fantastic game. I thought they played pretty decently in the, overall scheme of the run defense. I think that was one of my things that I was a little bit concerned about is how would the run defense look. They gave up 76 yards on 22 carries for 3.5 yard average. So I thought it was pretty decent. I'll take that. And listen, I couldn't be happier with the future of the interior defensive line right now. Honestly, I'm so stoked.
Yep, absolutely. Davey says Nakobe Dean was wearing a walking boot in the locker room on his right foot. Need to look into that, man. That's not good. That is not good with the depth of that position. My man Coyle says Pats did a good job of getting the ball out and taking away the D line. Absolutely. And David says, how many catches did our tight ends have? None? Did Stoll have any? Yeah, I don't remember. It has to be none.
Stoll messed up on one of those big Jalen Hurts sacks on his blocking assignment. We know that. That was the only time I even saw Stoll on the field today.
Right. Yeah. It was like 90% Goddard out there at all for the plays, and he was the only one who got a target. Yeah. And obviously didn't make that catch. So
just think about Boston Scott had more catches than Dallas Scott.
The only thing I can think of, like Jack Stoll did have a good block, I think with Cam Jurgens or something on a run, but that's about it. I don't remember anything else.
Another person that I would love to see just kind of every play for Cam Jurgens to kind of see, because there were a few plays there, honestly, where I noticed him get knocked down on his butt. So I was not thrilled from what I recollect seeing specifically for him, but I think going back and looking play by play to see how well he did is something I'd be interested in doing.
Yep.
The offensive line did not play fantastic. Jalen Hurts was under pressure every time he dropped back. Whether it was Cam Jurgens, Jordan Mailata had a key penalty somewhere in the game. Lane Johnson, it was okay. You know what I mean? So, the offensive line didn't play. I think Dickerson had a really big penalty as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was all just way too sloppy. It is week one. A win is win. At the end of the day, they got the W. When we look back at this, who knows how we look at this win. But anyway, let's get into player of the game. You're a special guest, Phil. Who's your player of the game in this one?
Oh, man, you're going to make me say this first? Oh.
I mean,
I'm going to leave Jake Elliott for one of you guys. Okay? I am going to say Josh Jobe for the play of the game. Look, I don't know if you guys caught it when James Bradbury went down. Tony Romo was like, "Oh, he's just gassed and he's just faking it." When you can clearly see blood coming out of James Bradbury's mouth. Okay, and and they're like, "Oh, he's going to target Josh Jobe right away." They target Josh Jobe, and Josh Jobe just got 4 fingertips on the back of that receiver's thing. Saved the game. We could be talking a totally different thing right now if Josh Jobe doesn't just give him that slight little nudge. So it's got to be Josh Jobe so that everybody else can say Jake Elliott.
Love it. All right. Didn't Josh Jobe being player of the game week 1 was not on my Eagles bingo card.
It wasn't on my bingo. Saying Josh Jobe was going to make the game-saving tackle or pass breakup was not on anybody's bingo card. I don't even think it was written on anybody's card.
He also had that really big special teams tackle too out of bounds as well. So
that's right.
Yeah, no, he had a great game, honestly, for the limited time he was out there.
Shout out to Sidney Brown, who also had a pretty sweet tackle.
I was just going to say that was a huge tackle on that punt return right there.
Regular boomstick.
There was a part where weren't they back to back as well? Like Marcus, I think his name is Marcus Jones. Rest in peace. That guy got
great. Yeah, not great for him.
Learned a fair catch. My goodness.
Yeah.
David says player of the game is Jake Big Kick Elliott. Arlene saying a win is a win, not cute, but a win. Player of the game is Howie Roseman, not James Harden.
That's a Dives answer.
Special teams player of the game. Ryan, who's your player of the game?
Yeah, listen, I'll take the layup. Jake Elliott was solid. He obviously missed the extra point, but whatever, didn't come back and bite us. He hit 2 really nice long field goals, and it was solid. Listen, and he made it interesting. Kicked one off the post and in. I mean, honestly, I think he should get 4 points for that. No, he was solid. He did exactly what he needed to do, and he was called upon multiple times to get points on the board, and obviously we needed every single one of them. So, I thought he was solid. Would have liked him to kicked a few more balls out of the end zone, but that's just nitpicking at this point. There's a lot more to nitpick. So, I thought he did solid.
Love it. Steven says Sidney Brown had the boom of the game. David says our punter did his job and coverage was good in punts. I'm gonna go. I'll just make it chalk straight. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna go Jalen Carter. You saw him collapse the pocket. He had to lead the team in pressures. He was just consistently in the backfield. What a promising start for this dude, man. I was uber impressed. We talk about Jalen Carter the last several months. Like, he met expectations. I thought he met them. For a defensive tackle guy that's making that much pressure, this guy could easily get 8 sacks this year, and it's going to be like Aaron Donald-esque. That's how crazy this is. I said it. And that is our 3 players of the games. Let's wrap this up, guys. If you're watching us, please give this video a like. We got a lot of viewers, so if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button and help us out. Phil, final thoughts on the Eagles W. Where can we find you, bro?
All right, so final thing is that I'm just going to give you a little tease because you can find me trending in the AM, Philadelphia Sports Network, going live. We need extended time, not an hour tomorrow. I'm going to go live at 8 a.m. for a minimum of a 90-minute show tomorrow morning. And I'm going to talk about the thing I talked about all offseason. Communication is the key. And there's a lot of communication issues and we have a 4-day turnaround here, short week. How does Nick Sirianni clean up the communication issues? Just think about it. If the Pats score there, we have no timeouts left and less than a minute because of communication issues, first and second half. So that is going to be my jumping off point tomorrow morning, trending in the AM on Philadelphia Sports Network, 8 a.m.
There it is, man. The best in the biz right there, Phil. He is so good. Trending in the AM, covers Sixers, Eagles, Flyers, you name it.
Union occasionally.
Union, what's that? What's soccer?
Occasionally.
Please go check that out.
We also have to cover the escaped convict in Chester County running around. It's like the daily update every single day on the show.
I love it. All right, Ryan, final thoughts, plugs.
Yeah, listen, it was kind of an ugly game. It wasn't the game that we were all expecting, and we've been waiting all off season for. We had high expectations, and listen, they played rusty, they played ugly, and they didn't play very smart. But good teams still win football games, and that's all that really showed me is that this team is still a great football team. It's still going to be one of the better football teams in the NFC for sure. And listen, we got away with one in a way, and let's move on. We have a couple of days to figure it out for the first home game in Minnesota. It's going to be great. It's going to be electric. I cannot wait to be down there. So listen, I'll take a win. As somebody said in the comments, a win is a win is a win. So let's just move on and focus on Minnesota. As far as me, you can find me right here, Philly Sports PSA on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it again. Philly Sports Alliance shows throughout the week. Facebook, YouTube, put on those automatic notifications on Facebook. That way you get all of the Philly Sports Alliance shows, and then you also get all of the Edge of Philly Sports shows, which come through the channel as well. I'm on Football Smack Talk show tomorrow. I'm on college football NFL draft weekly tomorrow as well with my man over here. Tuesdays, Birds of the Round Table. Wednesday, we got Party on Broad. We got a million and one other things. So check us out, give it a like, give it a follow, and make sure you guys are following these guys right here because they're some of the best in the business for Philly sports.
It's
All
free,
right.
free to hit that like button.
Yeah, like it up, baby.
It don't cost a thing to hit those buttons.
No, it doesn't. Don't cost a thing to hit that share and follow either.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for watching. The comments were outrageous today. As always, so much to talk about this week. Short turnaround. We're going Thursday as well. My gosh, the Vikings took the L this week, so they're going to come out hard. They're going to come out hard on Thursday and try to avoid 0-2. So, like Phil said, like if the Eagles have the same communication issues and sloppy play at home, it's not going to go well. You saw Pittsburgh get booed off the field today. That was pretty bad. It's probably going to be a lot of the same. So, again, like Ryan said, a win is a win is a win. But there were some positives, but I've got major question marks when it comes to Brian Johnson, the play calling, and a lot of different things. The Eagles' offensive line has to be better. The Eagles' defensive line has to be better. Even though they got pressure, it's not good enough. So that's the takeaways. This game was not good enough. You can check us out tomorrow night, NFL Draft Weekly, recapping week 2 of college football, recapping top draft prospects, guys that were standouts, and looking ahead to week 3, biggest games, all that kind of stuff with my man Ryan over there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Birds of the Round Table will be Tuesday night at 8. We've got a lot to talk about on that one. You can expect all 22 videos on Hurts, Jalen Carter. Those are the 2 biggies for sure. And we'll see where that goes. Maybe Jordan Davis. I think I'll do one on Jordan Davis. So be on the lookout for those. I'll do those tonight. So he is Ryan Reese. He is Phil. Go check out Trending in the AM, an amazing show at Philly Sports Network. Go subscribe over there if you haven't already. For Ryan, for Phil, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.